Right then, hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good whatever it is, whenever you are. My name is Paul, I'm also called Knickknack, I'm the brains behind Knickknack's Daily Teaser, and if you're on YouTube, I will put a link to those in there for you. I also talk about movies I've watched. I've seen the new version of Hellraiser just recently, and The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. And of the two, Hellraiser is the better option. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It is a bit... It's okay, but it's not special. Moving rapidly along, I also watch TV shows, and if they're ones I particularly enjoy, they're ones I try and tell you about. I've been watching The Abominable Snowman, the reanimated version of a classic Doctor Who series, and I'll try and put that in the eyes as well if I think about it. But that's not the only TV show I've been watching just recently. I have also been watching the first series of Star Trek Strange New Worlds and thoroughly enjoying it. Last night was Friday the 25th. Today is Saturday the 26th of November. So I thought I should tell you what I thought both of that last episode, A Quality of Mercy, and of the series as a whole. Here's a summary of the episode. Episode 10, A Quality of Mercy, opens with the usual summary of earlier episodes, focusing especially on Captain Pike's knowledge of his fate. The scene shifts to show us the USS Enterprise is on the edge of the Romulan neutral zone, the border, the demilitarized area between the Federation and the Romulan Empire. Pike, Anson Mount, the Enterprise, and the USS Cayuga are there to help Commander Al-Sala of Outpost 4 to upgrade the outpost's aging systems. Pike also gets to meet the commander's son, Matt Al-Sala, who's keen to join Starfleet at some point in his future. The name is one that Captain Pike knows, as in the visions he's had of his doomed future, the captain saves a group of cadets from death, receiving terrible injuries in the process to himself. That group includes young Matt Al-Sala, who ends up being one of only 2 cadets to die in the accident. As soon as he gets the chance, Captain Pike decides there is only one thing he can reasonably do. Send each of the cadets a letter telling them exactly what fate holds in store for them, and that they should avoid going anywhere near a certain J-class starship in 7 years' time. The only problem that Captain Pike has is the warning he gets from an unexpected visitor. From himself. From Admiral Pike, from several years in his own futures. Finish those letters, says Admiral Pike, and you wreck the future. Captain Pike is understandably very, very sceptical. Until Admiral Pike shows or proves he knows who he is by telling the captain or his younger self about a horse they'd owned as a child, and he tells the captain, or shows the captain, his future the only way the Admiral can, by using a time crystal the Admiral had been given by the monks on the monastery world of Bereth. This is going to get complicated. Now, I hear you ask, what did you make of the episode, Paul? And what did you make of the series? Let's start with that first question, shall we? Those of us who watch the many shows in the Star Trek franchise will probably be aware of the Romulans, the pointy-eared, green-blooded cousins of Mr. Spock's Vulcan people, and they're the antagonists of A Quality of Mercy, of this last episode. Many of us, especially older fans I suspect, will have seen the original series of Star Trek and the original series episode Balance of Terror, the episode that introduces us to the Romulans. It's a fantastic episode, it really is. It's sort of uses World War II submarine combat as its models, with submarines moving oh so slowly, trying to stalk each other across a big huge ocean, or in the case of the original Balance of Terror, 2 spaceships across space. They model it on submarine combat. Now, as those of you who've been reading or watching my reviews of Star Trek Strange New Worlds will possibly realise, A, this review is also on my blog, Knickknacks Old Peculiar, as well as being on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, at Mr. Cuddy2977. Please feel free to subscribe. As you will know from reading or watching my reviews of the series, you'll realise it isn't afraid, occasionally, to borrow ideas, giving a Trek twist to old stories or old story concepts. Lift us up where suffering cannot reach, or lift us where suffering cannot reach, for example, and all those who wander are the two examples in this series that I can think of. The former, Lift Us Where Suffering Cannot Reach, is very reminiscent of Le Guin's The One Who Walks Away from Obolus. The latter, All Those Who Wander, episode 9, which I watched last week, is reminiscent of Alien. And in spite of, or possibly because of that resemblance, one or the other, both episodes are some of the strongest of this opening series of Strange New Worlds. They really are incredible. Lift Us Where Suffering Cannot Reach is forcing me to reevaluate my personal scoring system. It usually goes from 0 to 4. I've introduced 4 plus, specifically for Lift Us Where Suffering Cannot Reach. It is a fantastic episode. But I can kind of see what you're thinking there, having watched all this. You're thinking, Paul, are you telling us that Equality of Mercy is a retelling of Balance of Terror? To put it bluntly, yes it is. It is a version, a retelling, if you will, with Christopher Pike taking the place of James T. Kirk and showing us how the story could have gone had Pike been in charge and not Kirk. Indeed, the Romulans' commanders' last words in Equality of Mercy are identical, word for word, with the same character's last speech in Balance of Terror. You could probably play them side by side and not tell the difference. So you're probably asking, in between me pausing and waving my hand about, you're probably asking, Paul, is it a good retelling? Is it bringing something new to the table? We can say it's a well-made story. Equality of Mercy is a good technical episode. The cast put in a very good performances. Anson Mount, the focus of the episode in particular, a chap who plays James T. Kirk in this series. I didn't track his name or try and track it down, but he does a good job as well. Director Chris Fisher seems to have done a good job directing this piece. Writers Henry Alonso Mayers and Akiva Goldman have given us a well-written piece, even if it is a touch derivative of an original series episode. That last point is possibly where we can argue. Possibly. Equality of Mercy is a fantastically good episode. It's brilliantly written. It has a lovely twist ending that I'd love to see resolved in Series 2. It's also got quite a bit of insight into Captain Pike as a person. It brings plenty of, to try and extend a metaphor here, plenty of new dishes to the table. Or possibly new cutlery. I couldn't tell you there. As an older fan, I have seen Balance of Terror, the original series episode of Equality of Mercy is based on. It may well be that newer fans, or fans of this newer set of series, haven't seen that episode. They frankly may have lost out there, because quite frankly, Balance of Terror is one of the best episodes of that first original series. It's up there with City on the Edge of Forever is the other one, I think, off the top of my head there. But it's an episode many newer fans may not have seen, but that still does not change the simple fact. It's bloody fantastic. And while Equality of Mercy has good solid roots in Balance of Terror, it has one hell of a twist in its tail that sets up a second series. It's also a remake of one of the show's best episodes. Equality of Mercy is a great series, a great episode, but it suffers by comparison to its predecessor. It's not doing as good as Balance of Terror, I think. So that's going to be problematic for me. It's good, but it's doing 3 out of 4 on my star system, my star rating systems. So, I hear you ask, what about the series as a whole, Paul? Tell us what you think there. Now, over the past few months, I've caught both the 4th series of Star Trek Discovery and the 2nd series of Star Trek Picard. And of the two, as much as I enjoyed Discovery, David Ajala as Book is a standout. Sonequa Martin Green as Captain Burnham is bloody fantastic and brings us a hell of a lot of regalness to her part as Captain Burnham. But as much as I enjoyed Discovery, I felt it slightly lacked that edge that Picard has. It's possibly too much like the early years of Star Trek The Next Generation. A little bit too fluffy, in other words, for my comfort. The move to the 32nd century setting has done it some good, I think, and given it a good rebooting and doing well, but it's still taking its time, I think. Of the two, and by contrast, Picard's 2nd season was far better and very watchable. If you want me to give you the numbers, just so you know, I have a rating system that's explored more on the blog rather than in the video versions of the reviews. It goes from 0, forget it, avoid it like the plague, all the way up to 4, go see it now, and very rarely, only once in the 13 years I've been running this blog and the YouTube channel, have I used 4-star plus. Go see it now, then tell your mates. Go sit them down with it. That's only happened to one episode in the whole of my reviewing career, and that was episode 6 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. But let's go back to what I was saying earlier there. Let me go back to the scoring. Picard Series 2 managed an average of 3.9 episodes, 3.9 stars per episode, with Discovery's 4th season on 3 per episode. Strange New Worlds, on the other hand, averaged out at 3.4 per episodes, midway between Picard Series 2 and Discovery Series 2. That's going by the numbers, and you will find a list of how I rated each of the episodes over on the blog on Knickknacks Old Peculiar. That, like I say, is going by the numbers, but on a more subjective level, I was far more impressed with Strange New Worlds than those individual figures would imply. It's forced me, like I say, to revise my scoring system by a certain amount, to introduce a new maximum 4-star plus rating for lifters where suffering cannot reach, which was one hell of a story. It's one hell of a story in one hell of a very strong, very, very strong series of episodes. Series 1 of Strange New Worlds is a very impressive start in what looks like a very good series. That 2nd series is due out at some point in 2023, and I will be honest with you, I am going to be glued to that 2nd series to see if it's as good as the 1st. I will be posting my written and video reviews to Knickknacks Old Peculiar and to my YouTube channel, and I would love it if you joined me and let me know what you think of each episode and whether you agree with each of them. Leave me a comment here as well. As one last point, I'm going to be obviously free on Fridays and Saturdays as from next week. I don't know what I'll be watching. I might just catch a film or two. I might just catch another TV series. Either way, I will let you know. Please keep your eyes peeled. Please subscribe. Please feel free to put some money in my tip jar, and please, whatever you do, live long and prosper.